you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Davey Deathray.
And Jaime and Fuego here, and so very stoked to be doing a little bit of a review out of the Fantasia Fest. Now, there are a ton of different genre films that are on showcase here, and I've had the chance to check out a number of them solo. This is one that we're actually out at the Horror Show Studios getting the chance to check out. It was an awesome opportunity to get some press set up for the channel and to actually check out some of these selections. And so this is one that is written and directed by William Bagley, who I believe has one prior feature under his belt. But I connected with his PR person who was kind enough to send us over this virtual screening of Hold the Fort. And so this is one that I had seen a trailer
Hold the
for.
fort!
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
man,
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah, and so this is one that, at least on the Fantasia website, and then it's also, I believe, floating around on like YouTube and whatnot. But there was a short little teaser that gave me an infectious sort of, synthy, it's silly, violent, almost like some Evil Dead inspiration in there, and, a few other things. But when things are condensed so significantly, it's maybe a snapshot of the vibe of something, but not necessarily how the entirety of the proceedings are going to be. And so, this is going to be, just very candid thoughts about it. And I guess I will... I'll start with myself here, because maybe I'll set the bench like in,
Sure.
Somewhere in the mid range. So I appreciated the vibe that this film was trying to go for. The whole like trapped in almost like kind of a bunkery sort of situation, from dusk till dawn inspiration maybe a little bit. You're fending off creatures that are coming at you, from the outside. And when there is this HOA meeting, the new couple that is invited to this annual thing that's going down. It was just tough to sustain the momentum of laughs and silliness, and also you could definitely tell that there were some budgetary constraints that they were trying to work through, and that's the difficulty of being independent filmmakers and things of that nature. I actually think I laughed at some of the zany wackiness a little more than you guys did, but where I felt the film kind of lost some steam was in the middle, especially where it tried to have some serious vibes and tried to actually bring a dramatic element to it. I felt like when it was just going balls to the wall goofy, especially some early humor from some characters that don't end up making it, because we're not going to spoil anything. There were some jokes that landed for me, legitimately. But when it tried to be serious halfway through, it lost a lot of momentum. Tried to regain it in the third act. But yeah, as a whole, there wasn't enough likability for me to say that this is like a big recommend to keep on your radar for, as it just made its world premiere at Fantasia Fest up in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But Cecil, I guess
Actually,
maybe
let's get Davey's thoughts first here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like this movie, there's some tonal issues. There's a little bit of tonal confusion. I definitely enjoyed the more silly parts of the movie, for sure. I was even getting a little bit of like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of vibe with like the Hellmouth sort of thing going on. That sort of situation.
In the story of it all, yeah.
And yeah, definitely some Evil Dead. It seems like they're trying to make one of the characters kind of like the Ash Williams of the piece. And I just don't think he has like... I'm just going to be frank about it. Not nearly enough masculinity to pull off an Ash Williams type character.
Timidity, yeah.
And... the sillier parts are the parts that I enjoyed the most. But I do feel like this movie at an hour 15 runtime feels a lot longer. I think this concept would have made a great like half hour, 35-minute short film, and you can kind of pack in all the good stuff and not have the tonal confusion and kind of stick with one sort of theme. Some of the music did work for me. I did like some of the synthy score.
Yeah, and some heavier stuff too at a couple points.
The needle drops didn't work for me. A couple of the characters didn't work at all for me. And really, ultimately, I don't know from personal experience. I've never made a movie or been part of a production. I know it's tough business, but the guy that's the lead, I just really wasn't buying into a lot of things about this character, and yeah, the movie ultimately it kind of ended with a whimper as well, unfortunately. Whereas I thought they were gonna, sometimes it's just like push into the silly. If you're gonna be silly, lean as far into that as you can, and at least I would have walked away being like, that was silly, good fun. But I can't recommend this one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Either.
Yeah.
My thoughts can be pretty much summed up by two of my favorite film critics from when I was growing up.
Gene Shalit?
No, the men on film.
Hated it.
So that's what I thought of it. I wasn't a big fan of this movie, and for many, many reasons. These guys are being probably a bit more diplomatic than I was planning to attempt to be, so perhaps I'll try and be better, but I hated the story. This was just Until Dawn done much, much worse on a much, much lower budget, and Until Dawn wasn't great to begin with, so the acting was really bad, the choices were terrible, they put they made decisions, like they had a chance to redeem themselves with their central villain and then just fucked that as well. Like it just it was a waste of time, and every dialogue delivery that was given that felt like it. What I said during the movie is that this feels like these writers really feel like they're doing something with this. Like they really think they're nailing it. And every joke is worse and worse and worse and more cliche and annoying than the previous joke. And I am very sorry, because I would much rather be encouraging about independent filmmakers, but this was one that they either felt like they were being like a really great example of a horror comedy, or they were trying to be a really great example of a send-up of a horror movie, and they failed miserably at that too. So, like, whatever they tried to do, they did it terribly. So, I did not like this movie.
I mean, hey, art is subjective, right? And you don't want to filter your opinion about this. We're here to be honest about it, man. And I guess we touched on a lot of the story already, and the fact that, new couple who's moved from the city to the suburbs are getting hit with a heavy HOA, they didn't read the fine print about, this yearly defense thing that they have to take part in, and it really turns into them fending off everything from, what was it, like
witches?
Ninja, but it was like ninja
Deadites, pretty much?
No, it was
kind of what they were.
It was Kung Fu zombies.
Yeah.
They were Kung Fu zombies.
Just like,
there was a specific name for it, and that's where
it was Kung Fu something, because they were doing like,
and fighting in that regard. And then there's hints of werewolves, and
hints of werewolf.
And
then
kamikaze bats,
and then the very, very scarily intimidating name.
It was embracing the camp a little bit, in my estimation, in that, and so that's why I'm not going to be as judgmental about some of that silliness. And at least early on, there's one character that you even mentioned, they're like, okay, she's the standout. It was like, I put muscle relaxers in the cheese sticks, or whatever it was. She's
the MVP.
Who had the best scene in the movie, which was, by the way, cut and put in the end credits instead.
That was a wild
without
decision.
Spoiling anything.
Wild decision.
Fuck's sake, man.
It was very funny.
Every decision in this movie was bad and wrong. Every single one. If they had chose to do the opposite of every single thing they chose to do in this movie, it would have been better.
Well, and I think like the guy that plays Jerry, Jerry is the leader of the HOA. I was like, man, if everyone...
I was amused by him.
Yeah, I was like, if everyone kind of matched that energy, then at least this movie would have like a consistent tone. Because I felt like he was sort of like doing the gawking and had, great facial expressions and all that.
Until they incapacitated him from doing that for the rest of the movie.
That did set up some funny dialogue.
I also thought it was kind of funny.
My point is that was his strength, and then they robbed him of it for the rest of the movie.
But I also kind of got a kick out of the fact that he like can't move, but he's still like delivering these hilarious lines.
When he was put through a glass table, it made me laugh. That was the only genuine laugh I got.
Great dummy effect there.
That was so funny. I was like, well, yeah, because he wouldn't feel it.
Yeah, and since we're kind of melding acting in with story in a lot of ways, because there's not really much else to mention
There's not.
story-wise. They're just defending the fort and hold the fort, as the title says.
This is not going to be a strict review.
That's about
by
it.
horror show
Yeah, but I
standards.
mean, I was still I was amused by the McScruffy guy, although also indisposed and with less for him to do as over the top as he was. He had
Not McStubble.
yeah. Was it
Yeah.
McStubble or McScruffy? Or
McScruffy is the
McScruffy
Fred
and
Williamson
That's-
standard.
Yeah, and
He's
then
doing the Fred
McStubble.
Williamson voice
Yeah,
from
and then
Dusk Till
McStubble
Dawn.
was what he called
Right.
the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so and
McScruffy
I mean,
was bang,
yeah.
bang.
Yeah, they even call him Shaft at some point.
Do they?
I'm
I
like,
didn't
or McShaft or something.
McShaft.
He says something
Probably.
because he can't think of the
That
name
makes
or whatever.
sense.
I'm like, oh, there's the Fred Williamson there.
Yeah, but and then back to the bit that I mentioned earlier, where there's a character death without spoiling, who it is, and it tries to segue for about 10 or 15 minutes into
Serious?
like serious, and
Yeah.
that's where I felt like the
Aren't you
tonal
gonna
imbalance
cry?
like really showed very
Yeah.
evidently, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, Dead Alive, for instance, one of my all-time favorite movies, or Brain Dead,
Yeah.
depending on what part of the world you're in. That never tried to have a little segue where Lewis or whatever his name was.
Suddenly you should care.
Well, with
Yeah.
with Lionel and his mom, there's some of those, like, he has those flashbacks about what happened when he was a kid or whatever. It's just done so much more. I don't know. Maybe it's just the finer tuning of somebody like Peter Jackson versus somebody making their first or second feature film.
Yeah, and yet you can tell that the inspiration was derived from the Peter Jacksons and the Sam Raimis and things of that nature. So, music, I guess you touched on already. There's, for every cool little synthy bit, or, when the McScruffy shows up or whatever, he's got, like, some metal-y sort of stuff that's going down. But, Cecil, I know you had mentioned at one particular point that there's a few bits of action where they tried to go into this, like, almost like sitcom-y, like, sort of silly, like,
what was
Leave It
that?
to
It was-
Beaver-y
look,
kind of stuff.
They did like a
And
roller
I know
skating
it-
rink song during one of the
And I know
fights.
it was done
Oh
for
my
laughs.
God,
to
that
have
made me
this, like,
so
balance, between
angry.
the two, but
Yeah.
It was so discordant. The music and the visuals were like, literally, it was like I'm trying to watch a movie while my little sister's playing her fucking song right next to me. Like, that's what it felt like. It was so against odds with one each other. I can't even speak right. I'm so frustrated by this movie. Everything was wrong.
yeah. Well, on that note, I guess we probably,
We can
settled
wrap up.
it.
We don't need to.
we can wrap it up. So
on it.
I
I'm
was
so
not
sorry.
as- I was
I'm
not
so
as
sorry,
frustrated
guys. I
as
try
much
not to
with
be
this movie
a
as you
Debbie
were, but-
Downer, negative Nancy, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard, yo. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to... I think if this movie were a half hour long and they just packed in all the points that worked best, I would have enjoyed it more. But yeah, it does feel stretched out and too long. And I don't buy for 1 second that our lead, that our Ash Williams stand-in, would be married to a woman. I just don't buy it.
He had no...
I don't know if that's
there
relevant
was
or
no
not. It was
consistency
distracting
with his character
But
either.
It was just distracting to me the whole time.
I
I'm
thought
like,
the wife was funny enough.
No,
but,
she's fine.
being
I just-
tattooed up and everything.
She's
Yeah.
a whole different movie.
I'm just like, I'm not believing that these two are a couple.
No,
not for 1
100%
second.
not.
Yeah. I guess I
Again,
can
the
see
only way,
that.
as I said during the movie, I was like, the only way they'd be together is if he saved her life one day and she felt indebted to him for the rest of hers.
Yeah.
That's the only way they'd end up together.
I don't know.
Like,
Who knows?
she
Maybe she does
almost
have a heart
wandered
of
onto
gold
train
deep down
tracks
there.
and he stopped her. And she feels like,
Well,
oh
they
my
said
God,
she was a
I'd be
nurse
dead.
and she wants to help people, right?
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
I would have been dead otherwise.
Yeah.
I owe you my
Yeah.
life, and I will spend the rest of my life with you, whether I want or deserve to be or not. Like, that's the impression I got.
Yeah,
Don't the impression that I get.
We're doing it again.
Don't forget, guys, that he is a really good runner.
Yeah.
So there's that
Which
too.
they still never even really. Like,
No, they
leaned
never,
into
like-
quite well.
no,
because
he
when
ran-
gets his
he ran
chance to
one
run, it's
time,
when he's
right?
holding
Yeah.
the guy on his shoulders, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
So,
Christ.
but yeah, guys. In any event, it was one of the more disappointing ones that has been
Glad that's the one we got to watch with you.
sent over as a virtual screener, But so that is our thoughts on Hold the Fort that just had its world premiere out of Fantasia Fest. There's a number of other things that you'll at least be seeing either here on here on the horror show, over on my channel, whatever, as the festival continues through next
whatever.
weekend. So, yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of the proceedings, I guess. I extend the grande gracias. Thanks for joining me for this one, guys, even though it was a little lackluster
Thanks for choosing
in
this
your
one.
estimation. So, yeah, well,
I'm sorry, Fuego.
I was excited for it. In any event, guys, yep, thanks again. I've been Jaime Fuego.
I'm Davey Deathray.
I'm Cecil Laird.
And until next time, remember,
Stay scared.